Hello and welcome to Mastering in the Box. In today's video we're going to take a look at loudness and how getting the loudness right first can add benefit to our masters. Hello and welcome to Mastering in the Box. I'm your host Smudge, and in today's video I've got a short video for you this week. I've been a little bit under the weather and I thought, I know what, let's make this one nice and snappy, and I've got a great example of where loudness and actually adding loudness first can really benefit our masters. So the song in question is a song called Lost My Way by Swinging Stakes, and this is another track that's available through the Cambridge Music Technology website. And I first listened to this track and I made some notes. And the notes were the song needed more width. There was a lack of brightness to the top end, or a lack of top end. It was very mid-range heavy. And something I noticed that when I often listen to tracks without bringing in much commercial loudness, and sometimes they can fold in on themselves, and just giving it some more loudness. I know we perceive loudness to sound better, but sometimes it can just actually, with adding the compression from a limiter, and in this example using a clipper, it's really starting to bring those dynamics to life. I've also made a note about bringing the vocals forward a bit. There was a nice synergy between the kick and the bass. Overall the clarity needs some more work, and this goes back to being very mid-range heavy, but also saturation to add some character to the track. And I say I made these notes, and let's take a listen to the track at various places without any processing. So it's just, I say, it's a lovely track. It's really nicely mixed, but it just kind of needs opening up a bit. And actually we can achieve a lot of that by looking at the loudness first. In this particular instance I've gone for the TR5 Classic Clipper, and it's not really doing too much at all. As say, the slope is bang smack in the middle, and we've got 3.6 dBs worth of gain going in, and we're just adding a little bit of compression using the clipper. So the way that the clipper is going to work is, rather than actually squashing the peaks, it's just going to chop the peaks. So let's take a brief listen with the clipper engaged. So there's also a little bit of saturation being applied, and we're just getting a dB's worth of gain reduction using the clipper. And then to go in conjunction with the clipper, I'm using the TR5 Stealth Limiter, once again by Multimedia. And this is, once again, it's 3 dB's worth of input gain. We've got the output ceiling at -1 dB. This is probably going to be about 2 dB's worth of gain reduction on the compressor. So let's take another listen. And one of the things I just noticed is, just by looking at the volume first, it's really kind of bringing the track more to life. It's kind of opening the song up a little bit more. I think the thing is, we sometimes get afraid of using compression when it comes to limiting, but actually adding gentle compression on the master bus when it comes to mastering can really just kind of bring the song to life a little bit more. Yes, you are going to reduce the dynamic range, but if you've got, say, a lot of peak heavy data that's kind of mid heavy or low heavy, and you want to bring out that top end, sometimes actually by reducing that dynamic range and bringing up some of those troughs, if that contains a lot of high end data, just using some compression in this way can really bring out the top end. Let's just take a brief listen. We're going to bypass the master bus, and let's bring it back in and take another listen. So just by processing the track in this way, it really just kind of brings the top end to life. One of the challenges though we are going to have to face is the fact that we don't want to be deceived in perceiving things to be better just because they're louder, but certainly it kind of gives me the impression that it just opens up the song a bit more. So actually, just by looking at the loudness first can really kind of enable you to get a more, don't necessarily accurate way of looking at your master, but maybe a more efficient way of looking at your master, and you may not then need to do quite as many mastering moves as you initially thought. So then all we then need to do on the rest of the track is I've just gone ahead and applied just some more gentle compression. So I just got the Elysia Alpha Master Compressor, and we're just getting around a dB's worth of gain reduction on that compressor. Re-EQ. Now this is a really interesting plugin. I love this. This is one of the JS plugins, and with the I started off with the top end first. So this top end is basically, it's purely being applied to the mid frequencies only. So you can look at the mono. When I made reference to wanting to bring the vocal a little bit more up front, we can actually kind of generally do that just by adding a little bit more air to the vocal. And if we just add, say, a little bit of the top end shelf, the high shelf, in this instance it's 9.49k, and it's literally just like 1.11 dB, just a little gentle amount, but it's only being applied to the mid frequencies only. So it's really just going to catch that air band of the vocal and kind of just bring that a little bit more present. And then I also looked at the mids. Now this is a great tip. If you find that if your bass, sometimes a bass guitar can get very much sunk in a mix, and if you want to bring out the bass guitar, a lot of people kind of look at the low end and the correlation between the kick and the bass. I actually look between the correlation between the bass and the guitar, because I find that if you actually take out some of the 300 around that range of the guitars, sometimes it actually makes the bass guitar be a bit more present in the mix as well. So what I've actually done here, once again, it's just a small peak, 336 Hz, and it's a 1.14 dB cut, and it's only being applied to the side frequencies. So when you've got your guitars panned to the sides, if you can just take out that frequency of the sides, then it just makes the bass guitar cut through a little bit better. And then the other thing I just did here was just a simple low cut, and it's really just taking out some of that real low end rumble. And I say it's less than a dB, and it's at 12.4 Hz. And then finally, just add a little bit of character with the black box saturation plugin, which is the HG2. And as I say, it's not too much at all. It's on the flat frequency, and it's just a little bit of saturation there. So let's take another listen with those plugins engaged. So it's just as simple as that, really. So just by approaching the master, by adding the volume first, it's enabled me to get a much more effective way of listening to the entire track, and it's really reduced my processing fault. If I just go back to my notes, as I had 5-6 different things on my notes list there, things that I needed to do, and yet I've achieved that with just adding some overall loudness, adding 3 moves, one with the compressor, 1 EQ, and a little bit of saturation. So don't always feel that you have to add the limiting or the volume last. Sometimes approach it, add it first, and maybe it will change the way you think about what you need to do to your overall master. So that's it for this week, and I hope this has given you a useful guide as to how you can approach something differently when it comes to mastering. So if you like this tip, then make sure you give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, and make sure you tip that bell and select all to receive notifications on all of our videos moving forward. All that's left for me to say is I hope you all keep safe and well, and I'll see you in the next video coming real soon.